The North Division title is on the line, and the best of three starts Thursday night from the Moyer Recreation Center. For the third year in a row, it'll be the Warriors and Rebels colliding, and joining us now is Warrior head coach Diep. How's it going?
Really good, Mo. Thanks for having me on.
So I want to start off by asking you about how different this year was in terms of the roster and player availability. How did you guys keep everyone engaged, and was there ever a point in the season where you thought maybe it wasn't meant to be?
No. We had a really good communication with the junior A minors of how their camp was progressing and how it was going to affect how we were going to start the year off. So knowing that beforehand, we were able to deal with those roster challenges, but at the same time, it gave us some adversity for our returning players, and it also provided probably about a 4 to 6 week window for our rookies to really find their game within the Junior B Tier 1 division and see how they can, and also provided a great opportunity for them to progress their development into our future plans going forward. So, it was a little stressful playing some games shorthanded and not with the anticipated roster that me and the coaching staff anticipated early in the year. But it was a good challenge, and I believe, we truly believe that with that experience early in the year for us sets us up pretty well and places us in a really good position of where we are right now in the North Division final against Fort Saskatchewan Rebels.
Yeah, I know, and I think that it probably set younger players up a little better, getting all those reps, guys like Carey and guys like Redlick. So there is some blessings in disguise, but yeah, playing games that shorthanded, I've experienced it myself. It's very stressful, and obviously it's nice to be full bore ahead as you guys enter the playoffs. So Josh Dewart is a guy I want to ask you about. He's progressively gotten better, and he's really flourished these last couple of seasons. He ends up leading you in scoring this year, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on how you've seen his game grow and what he means to your team on and off the floor.
Dewey, really impressed. Based off our prior experiences with the seniors, and now our third year in with the Junior Bs, it's really important to have a really good nucleus of your veterans in your fifth years. And Dewar coming back from school this year, coming back into better shape than he left Founders, comes in, plays a huge role for us in the offensive side, taking over some of the lost offense that we've have lost with losing Ben Royer, Cole Stashnik transition-wise on goals, and Sebastian Simonson. So Dewey, he's done a really great job of filling in that offensive production need that we have. Dewey, he works up to his game. He's really emotionally focused every game. He knows what his strengths are, and he takes full advantage of it when he's given those spots to shoot. And he's got a tricky release behind screens as well. So hopefully some of our rookies can pick up on some of that stuff, and we can progress that into their development going forward. Really happy with Dewey. That's
a great point about him shooting around screens. I think that it's a really underrated skill set, and you're right. That's something that other guys can pick up off on, and I know from having coached him myself, just one of my favorite players that I've ever had the chance to coach. He's a guy that's really committed to the sport and is willing to learn, and very level-headed. He's not one of those guys that gets too full of himself, and he always wants to get better. So it's nice to see him having the success that he's had. So I want to ask you, obviously the last couple of years, you guys go to the Founders and win it all in 2023. What do you think is just one thing that you could maybe take from those experiences that could help you on this run?
Just staying focused at the task at hand and not being distracted by things you can't control, outworking your teammates and outworking your opponents every opportunity you're on the floor, and just relying back on your past experience as a player and as a coach for the players that's been very fortunate to been to the last two with us. They can build off those experiences and say, okay, yeah, we're going through a storm right now, but if we just stay calm, focused, and disciplined to the system, we can ride this out just based off past experience. And if we execute, then we should be able in a good spot to compete. But that's a little bit too early to talk about. We haven't gone there yet. We're just mainly focused on the upcoming series to get out of the North Division, and then hopefully we can execute our plan here and get out, and then head off to provincials, and then we'll focus on that. But any experience that any players or coaching staff and organization that can experience from going to national championship week is very invaluable. It gives you a lot of lessons and experience to take with you going forward into the future seasons.
Yeah, and I think that's a luxury of having a veteran team. Is I think people that maybe aren't so experienced inside of sports maybe don't realize when those emotions and those roller coasters start to take place, and say you get down 4-2 early in a playoff game, younger teams have a tendency, and even not so young teams have a tendency that aren't as experienced to start getting down on themselves, and that sort of, not panic, but just sort of a freezing, almost like your game freezes a little bit, and you get caught up in your emotions. That takes place, and that's obviously a positive of having a veteran team, is you have guys that can kind of say, look, guys, like, the game isn't over here, we just need to do this and this, and we'll be fine. And just sort of that calming presence, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's huge. It's a bad trap to fall into, right? Yeah. You don't typically lose games within the first 10 minutes of any game, but you can certainly contribute by your own actions and start trending towards uncontrollable scenario where the game is essentially lost. So it is key to stay calm, and that those experiences does allow you to be in that state of mind to fight through for the next 50 minutes, right? Yeah,
it's that old saying, right? You can't win a game in the first 10 minutes, but you can lose it because you can fall apart, and it becomes a mountain, or a molehill becomes a mountain, so to speak. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so this is now the third year in a row that we've had this tilt in the North Final, and the Rebels and the Warriors have grown accustomed to playing one another. Would you say the Rebels are now your biggest rival?
I guess yes and no. The message to our boys are our biggest rivals, always the guys within our own locker room. But, yeah, for sure. The Rebels it's always seemed, the last 3 years now, it seems to be us and the Rebels. It's a good rivalry. It's a good, healthy one. Great competition. The coaching staff and the management staff there are, how would I say, really good frenemies for the next week here.
All right, so what is the biggest challenge that this Rebels team presents to you in this particular matchup?
The biggest challenge is they don't stop working. No play is dead on them, right? So we got to make sure we match that, or match it and up it, so we can kind of get and looking for that edge on that compete level. That's our biggest challenge right now. Tell our boys we got to work for our luck. So it seems that 7-7 tie there. They worked a little harder in the last 8 minutes of that game. They got the bounces to go the way to give them an opportunity to come back and tie us there. So that's our biggest challenge, is just maintaining our compete level and our work ethic throughout 60 minutes for the upcoming series here.
And I think you hit the nail on the head, because I think just analyzing these two teams and knowing how each one plays. I know, and I think a lot of people would agree with this statement that that's how that's how the Rebels are going to win this series, and that's their path to success is outworking and winning those battles, those 50-50 battles for loose balls and things like that. So I think you hit the nail on the head in saying that you guys need to match that. What type of series do you expect here? Like, do you think it's going to be overly physical? Do you think there's going to be a lot of offense? Do you think it's going to be lower scoring and tight, maybe a bit more conservative? What do you sort of project here is going to take place over the next few days?
Oh, man. I wish I knew the answer. That's why we play the games. Two really good teams. The 3 games within the regular season. One maybe seems the score indicates it was a blowout. It really isn't. You know, I believe both teams are fully healthy now, so it's going to be some good fast pace, workman-like, physical game of lacrosse. We just got to execute more than they do. I guess the short answer will be, I think it'll be a tight game, tight games.
Okay, and so your team has a large amount of graduating players and key players at that. Does that add a bit more motivation, but also pressure, knowing that this could be the last real shot at it?
No, we don't look at it that way. You know, we just take it at one game at a time, one shift at a time. Yeah, it's in the back of our minds that we have a veteran-laden team. They know that it's their last chance at junior to get to a national championship or even get out of the division for some of them. Talking about the guys that we recently obtained in the trade, rookies wanting to experience this. So, yeah, it's going to be tough to say. Guys are just right now just really focused on the game at hand, just one game at a time right now.
Finish this sentence. The Warriors will win this series if
we execute our game plan.
All right, that is the head coach of the Edmonton Warriors. The best of 3 North Division final opens up Thursday night inside Moyer Recreation Center. If you can't make it out, you can catch the game live on on the CROW LAX YouTube page. Face-off goes at 8 o'clock. Vay, as always, I appreciate the time. Thanks so much, and all the best.
Thanks for everything you guys in CROW LAX do, growing the game and providing